Okay, we're going to be working with decimals and money in this particular set of assignments. So I want to go through some stuff just to review. Now remember that money is always expressed as a decimal that's rounded to 2 decimal places, and that's hundreds. So we would never write $12.5673. That would be incorrect. We would need to round that appropriately and get $12.57. I also want you to notice that we always put the dollar sign first and not after our numbers. Now, a deposit with money means that you're adding money to an account or a stash. And some key vocab words that might help you know that you are depositing are things like add, saved, put into, credit, or earned. A withdrawal means that you are subtracting money from an account or a stash of money. And some key vocab words that would help you with that is write a check, use an ATM to withdraw, debit, spend, bought. Those are all heads up that you're going to be subtracting. Now, when you owe money or are in debt, the money is expressed as a negative number because you can have negative money. That just means that you are in debt. Now, in accounting, this is a little dicey because they don't always use a negative number to express money that you owe. Sometimes they will put negative numbers in parentheses instead of using a negative symbol, or they will write them in red ink. And that is where the saying, being in the red, comes from. That means you owe money. The last thing I want you to do when you're working with money is always, always, always ask, hey, does this make sense? If you go to the store and buy these items and the clerk says to you, hey, your bill is $95.47, would you believe her? Now remember, clerks are just like us. They make errors all the time. So when you go to the store, here's what you should be doing. You should round up each item to the next whole dollar. And then you should add them up in your head. And when I did that, I got $74. And so I would expect my bill, if that's all I was doing, to be around $74, more or less. Okay, but remember, you're always going to have to pay tax. Now, I go high and I just assume 10% tax because it's easy to figure. So on $74 to figure 10%, I would just move my decimal one place. So I'm going to say that $7.40 would be around my tax. I'm going to add that to my $74, and I'm going to get that my bill should be around $81, somewhere around in there. So if it's significantly off of that, like $95.47, I'm going to say, I think something might be wrong to the clerk. Let's go over this together. So always ask, does it make sense? Now, before you get going on your homework, I want to review the rules of working with decimals. Now, sometimes you're going to have a calculator, but sometimes you're not. If you have a calculator, use your calculator. If you don't, remember these rules when you are adding and subtracting with decimals. Now, first off, the word sum tells you that you're going to be adding. The word difference tells you that you're going to be subtracting. And when you're adding and subtracting by hand, you have to line your decimals up. So here we have a problem. It says you have earned $65.40 helping people, I think that's supposed to say rake leaves and pull weeds this fall. You want to buy a pair of headphones that cost $153.39. That includes the tax. How much more money do you need to earn? Well, I'm going to start with my total of what I need, which is $153.39. And I'm going to say, hey, that has to equal what I've already earned plus some more, and I don't know what that more is. So then I'm going to solve this, I'm going to subtract $65.40 from each side. And how I did that was I just lined them up. And notice that I took my decimal and I put it down in my answer. And then I just did subtraction by hand, and I got that I am going to have to earn $87.99 more to buy these headphones. Now look at how I did that, and I lined up my decimals. Okay, let's take a look at this one. I took this out of the homework. so that we could talk about, sorry about that, that's my phone, so that we could talk about how to do some of the stuff in the homework. To buy a lamp, a radio, and a flashlight, Alec has to borrow $46 has to borrow $46 more from his friend. How much does Alex have right now? Okay, well, here's how I kind of thought about this. I said these three things have to add up to how much Alex has plus the money he borrowed from his friend, which is $46. So I let X represent how much money Alex has. And I said, hey, if I add that to the 46 that he borrowed, that has to equal the cost of all the items that he purchased. So that's how I set it up. Now, again, I don't have my calculator on me, so I'm just going to line those three amounts up. Notice that I brought my decimal down. I lined my decimals up, and then I just used long addition to come up with the cost of all three of those is $105.98. Now, to solve this equation, I'm going to subtract out the $46 that he borrowed from a buddy. Again, I'm lining up my decimals and bringing my decimal point down, and I got that Alex had $59.98 to start with. So when you add or subtract, you have to line up your decimals. On this particular one, I just want to make sure that you understand, again, this is off the homework, how to set this up. A set of rulers is $2.75. A box of markers is $3.25 more expensive than a set of rulers. So if Mike buys a set of rulers and a box of markers, how much would he pay? Well, I'm going to say the rulers cost $2.25 and the markers cost $2.75 plus $3.25. So I have to add all three of those things up, and I get $8.75. And I did that, again, by lining up all my numbers with the decimal places in the same spot and adding. All right, so now, this is really the hardest one, and this is dividing. And when you see the word quotient in a problem, that means they are asking you to divide. Now, if you've got a calculator, obviously you're going to use your calculator. But if you don't have a calculator, you can divide by hand. And you also line up your decimals in division. But you just line up the decimals between the dividend and the quotient. Now, I've shown how this works. If I have 6.75 divided by 2.5, well, the first number mentioned is my dividend, and that goes underneath my little division bar. And the second thing mentioned is your divisor, and that goes outside. So first thing mentioned goes under, second thing mentioned goes outside, and your answer is called your quotient. So the very first thing you have to do is let's set this up. So I've got my 6.75 underneath the division bar and the 2.5 outside. First thing I have to do is get rid of the decimals in the divisor, and I do this by just moving the decimal to the right. But my second rule says, hey, whatever you do to the divisor, you have to do to the dividend. So if I move my decimal one place to the right in 2.5 and got 25, I'm going to move it, one place to the right in my dividend and get 67.5. Now, line up your decimal in the quotient with your dividend. So before I even get going here, I'm going to take that decimal from my dividend and move it up into my answer, which is my quotient. And then I'm just going to say, do long division. And it's hard, but it's not impossible. Remember to bring your numbers down. And I get that 6.75 divided by 2.5 is 2.7. All right, here is a word problem. Three groups work together and earn $2,442.53 working the concession stands for several days. You must split the money by 3.5 because the Eagle Club always gets a cut to help keep the concession stand stocked. How much money does each group get, and how much does the Eagle Club get? Well, we need to see that we've got this total. amount, that is going to be my first number. So it's my dividend. And I have to divide that by 3.5, which is my divisor. So I'm going to set this up in long division. And remember, I've got to move my decimal because I can't have a decimal in my divisor. So I move it one place there, I move it one place in my dividend, and I move it up to my quotient. So that's where the decimal is going to be in my answer. And then I'm just going to use long division. And keep going through this, bringing down numbers as I go, until I get to 3 decimal places. As soon as I get to 3 decimal places, I can stop. And I'm at 3 decimal places, and I can stop. This number goes on further, but remember we're dealing with money, so I only need 2 decimal places, so I need that 3rd decimal to see how I need to round. And looking at this answer, I know that each club is going to get $697.87 because I'm going to round up. And then the Eagle Club is going to get anything these clubs did not get. So I'm going to take my total and subtract out $697.87 3 times, and I'm going to get that the Eagle Club gets $300 and $348.92. Okay, again, I totally expect you to use your calculator if you have it, but if you don't, this is not hard. It's just time consuming. All right, now the last thing I want to do with division is show you this problem. It was from the homework, and if you do not enter this correctly in your calculator, you will get the wrong answer. So when you see a fraction, you need to know that that is just a division statement. Now, I have a fraction button on my calculator, so I just use my fraction button. But if you don't, you would need to take your 3.3 divided by, and then put in parentheses 4.8 divided by 8, because that's what 4.88 means. And you would get 5.5. If you do not put those parentheses in your calculator when you're entering it, you will get the answer incorrect. All right, so the last thing that we need to look at is multiplying with decimals. And it's by far the easiest because you don't have to worry about lining up anything. You just put your 2 numbers together, do long multiplication, and then worry about the number of decimals. So in this particular problem, it says that the average number of children in an American family in 2017 was 3.14. Remember, that's just an average. The Department of Agriculture estimates that it costs approximately $233,610 to raise a child to the age of 17 in America. About how much would an average American family have to spend to raise their children to age 17? So I'm going to take 233,610 times the average number of children, which is 3.14. Now, all I do is set the 2 numbers up in a multiplication sentence and multiply, just like I would normally. And moving over each time, and then at the end, I'm going to add. And then I'm going to go back up to my 2 original numbers, and I'm going to say, adding both of those together, how many total decimals do I have? Well, I have 2 decimal places here. So if I have 2 decimal places in both of those 2 added together, then I have to have 2 decimal places in my answer. And I get that it will cost the average American family $733,535.40 to raise their children to age 17. Okay, I think you've got what you need. Go back and look at anything that you need to, and then you're ready to do your homework.